you want to gain knowledge with other people, because you don't know how to do some stuff, but you cannot come.
So thank you. One of the ways to solve that is that you want to try to be around other Muslims as often as possible. So whenever you can come to the masjid, right? Sometimes we think we only come to the masjid for a big program, like if there is a majlis, or if there is Sunday school. But even if it's just to come to the masjid for prayer, even if it's just to do a dua kumail, or if you have other dua programs here, then just to be around other Muslims as often as possible. Ideally, in Islam, it was 5 times a day. When people lived close to one another, they would come with one another 5 times a day for every prayer. If that's difficult because we live far away, it's not walking distance, then to try to come as often as we can is important. And it doesn't have to be in the masjid. So, you come to masjid as often as you can, but if you're not able to, then try to find Muslims close to your house, do things together. You can, even if you're simply playing a video game, rather than be alone, if you're with other Muslims and you're in a good environment and that person is a good person, then it's going to
Be a lot more fun.
it'll be more fun. It'll also be better for you. So one of the things that I'm going to I was going to mention in my speech today, but I'll mention it now. How important is play in Islam? Play is very important. In Surah Yusuf, the brothers of Prophet Yusuf, when he was a boy, they wanted to take him away from his father. Does everybody know the story of Prophet Yusuf?
No, I don't know it.
You don't know it? Assalamu alaikum. The story of Prophet Yusuf is that he had several brothers who were jealous of him because he was a prophet. So even as a young boy, he was very pious, very pure, and his parents loved him more than his brothers because he was better than they were. So the parents were nice to the other family members, but they gave a special respect to Yusuf because he was a prophet as well. He was a special child. So they were jealous. What they said is, maybe we should kill him. Then one of the brothers said, no, that's not good. You can't kill him. But why don't we take him to the jungle and we'll lose him. So they came to their father, who was Prophet Yaqub, and they said, why don't you give us Yusuf? We'll take him. And now they're talking to a prophet. The father of Yusuf and the father of his brothers was Prophet Yaqub. So what is it that they say to Prophet Yaqub? Ya Abana, ma laka la ta'manna ala Yusuf, wa inna lahu lanasihun. Arsilhu ma'ana ghadan yarta' wa yal'ab. Wa inna lahu lahafidhun. Alaykum salam. That, O our father, send Yusuf with us so he can play and he can have fun. And we'll protect him. They were lying. They weren't going to protect him, they wanted to actually lose him. But when they told Prophet Yaqub that we're taking him to play, he didn't say, what is play? I am a prophet. Yusuf is a prophet. Why would you take him to play? Take him to, if many of us want to talk to our parents and we say, I want to go to study, I want to go to the masjid, I want to do something religious, then they'll be very excited and they'll take us. And if we tell our parents, I want to go play, then they might not be so excited to say yes. But Prophet Yaqub said that it pains me, إِنِّي لَيَحْزُنُنِي أَن تَذْهَبُوا بِهِ. But he said that I will let you go. Allah had a plan for Prophet Yusuf. So that tells us in the Quran that for a prophet to have fun and to play is an important part of what every young person should do. Even an adult, right, should have enjoyment and have fun. It's different. What you consider fun might not be what your parents consider fun, but it's important. So even if you're just playing video games with friends, but if you're with other Muslims and you're having fun in a good environment with good company, then that is valuable, as opposed to by yourself or with bad friends. Does that make sense?
So you're telling us, Maulana, we should have a basketball team?
You should have a basketball team. You should, in fact, if Sunday school ends and you have one period of a game, then that is also, especially if it gives exercise or if it's an intellectual challenge, and it's also enjoyable, that's a very good part of an Islamic education.
So the kids at 1:30 to 2:30 do whatever the sports they want. We have a table tennis, basketball, soccer.
Good.
Frisbee.
Good. Take that seriously. That's one of your more important classes. And then if I don't know if some families leave, but try to encourage people not to leave before that. So.
And we do have a basketball coach from he's a ASU team.
Okay, good.
So alhamdulillah, we have someone.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Do you like the coach? Yeah?
The tall one. I didn't know he was that from the coach.
Yes.
All right. So we need to have some questions from the sister side as well, girls.
Bunny?
You can't just be quiet. So that's
Talk to him about you're going to Karbala, Iraq. Ask him.
normally what happens is that the boys, they monopolize the answers and the questions, and you shouldn't let that happen. So if you really don't have a question, that's one thing, but I doubt that's the case. I'm sure you have good thoughts to share, questions to ask. No? No questions or thoughts?
Maulana, some of the kids are going to Karbala for winter vacation.
MashaAllah. For how long? 2 weeks. MashaAllah. Is there a camp or?
It's just a group, a bunch of family members are going.
So one thing to keep in mind is that when you go for ziyarat, it's a very special trip. And sometimes, because we're not used to it, we don't know how to appreciate it well. So a couple things are important. One, whenever you go for ziyarat, make it a special kind of a visit to the haram. So, for example, if you want to do some sightseeing, maybe you want to go shopping and buy souvenirs or something like that, then don't just make kind of the ziyarat of Imam Hussein or ziyarat of the shrine of Abbas alayhi salam part of the trip. But specifically go for ziyarah, come back. Wherever else you go, on the way back, then stop for ziyarat, or if you have bags and things, drop them off at your hotel or wherever you're staying, and come for ziyarah. So make it a special trip and not just an afterthought or something that happens on the side. Another thing, actually, this might be a little bit surprising, that many ulama, they mention is don't stay too long in the haram. So you only stay in the haram as long as you are fully attentive. And if you feel like you're starting to get distracted or bored, or you're looking for something on your phone, then go back, get something to eat, do some sightseeing, get some rest, whatever you need to do, and then come back after a few hours. Stay for 10 minutes, but that 10 minutes that you're in the haram, full attention to your ziyarat, to thinking about Karbala, to talking to Allah, to doing salat, and then before you get bored, leave, and then come back again. Much better to make 4 trips in the day that are short but fully concentrating, rather than say that I'm going to spend an hour in the haram, but you're not actually thinking about it, and then you don't come back for the rest of the day. So those are a few good points to keep in mind when you go for ziyarah, inshallah. And remember, everyone here, if you actually have a notebook and you can make a list of people to pray for, that actually helps you focus as well. So if you have a list, family members, friends, community members, teachers, then you have a list of 20, 30, 40, 50 people to pray for. Now, every time you go, you can mention 5 of them. And then over the course of a day, 2 days, you can get through a pretty big list without getting distracted.
Danish? Anything?
Any other questions? Go ahead.
How can playing with another Muslim, how can that benefit you?
How can playing with another Muslim benefit you? Well, for one thing, when you're praying with another Muslim, right, you are developing a relationship with somebody who shares your values. So, if I'm with a non-Muslim, right, as you grow older, that non-Muslim is going to have a culture, expectations, maybe a way of talking, a way of thinking that is not Islamic. And sometimes that can be peer pressure for us to do things that are not good for us. Right? A Muslim is also not going to be perfect. So if I have a Muslim friend, I can't say that, well, whatever they do, I'll do. It's all okay. Because they're Muslim and I'm Muslim. Right? No Muslim is perfect. But at the very least, they have the same values that we do. So for example, when it comes time to eat, if it's a good Muslim friend, they will also be concerned about eating halal food. Or at the very least, they'll understand why I'm fasting, why I'm eating halal food. Their value system, the way they talk, the way they joke, not just any Muslim, but a Muslim who is also practicing and concerned about Islam, they'll have a similar value system. There's a similar kind of teaching we have that before you do anything, say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Right? Why? Because when you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim before you do anything, if that's a habit, then just saying Bismillah will remind you not to do anything haram. Right? Like, do you think it's possible to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and then go and say gamble or do something haram? Inshallah, I'm going to win the lottery. You can't do that because just saying inshallah, saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim reminds you that I'm supposed to do things that are halal. So it's a reminder. And having a Muslim friend is also a reminder. Good.
Okay, so why if playing on something, why is it better to play without using the device, but also playing with a friend on your device? Why is it better to play not on your device with them?
Why is it better not to play? So there's health reasons not to play with a device too much. It has an effect on our eyesight. It has an effect on our communication skills. In many cases, it can have harm for people's happiness, and that's for the health. But from an Islamic perspective, one of the main reasons is that playing in Islam is both for us to relax and also for us to develop a relationship with other people. So the device doesn't always help you to do that. The most important resource that we have as Muslims is the help that we get from each other in learning how to be a good person and the strength that we get from each other in practicing Islam. So that you might be able to text somebody, but it's much better if you're talking to that person face to face. It's a much closer relationship. It's better than the alternative.
But what if they're far away from you?
So like I said, texting is not bad, or Skype. Right? If you have a grandparent who lives in Florida, right, then a device might be the best way to stay in touch. But you should visit as often as possible. So, maybe once a year, twice a year, whenever you're able. The more you're able to have real contact, the better. It's not always possible, and it's not always easy, but the more you're able to do it, then the more you should try. So, if, for example, you can listen to a speech on YouTube and save time, or you can come to the masjid. Which is better? Masjid is more important. Even if the YouTube speech is more interesting. Even if you learn more from the YouTube speech. Even if you learn more. Why? Because the dictionary knows more words than you'll ever know. The encyclopedia knows more facts than you'll ever know. Right? There are people who know a lot of facts. The point of listening to a speech is not just to know a whole bunch of facts. It's good to know facts, but that doesn't make us a better person.
What if there's like snow outside and you've been on your device a lot, but there's something important you need to do with...
Then you need to go and throw yourself in the snow and make a, what do they call it, a snow angel?
Yeah.
Maulana, any...
I don't think you guys get that much snow in Phoenix though.
No, never.
You can make a sand angel.
What if
But Maulana's city get a lot of snow.
If you ever want to make a snow angel, come to Chicago.
or San
And
Diego?
we'll, not even San Diego, we'll bury you in the snow.
You guys already got snow this year?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. We have frost so far.
How about Flagstaff?
Flagstaff.
Yeah, what if you live
Does
in
it have snow right now?
I don't think so.
lives in like...
So any questions now from the girls' side? Still, no thoughts?
Maulana, I have one request. Any recommendation for the teachers? All the teachers are here. They're doing an amazing, amazing job. Yes.
Salawat first for them. So the way that we show our appreciation, even more than applause, is by reciting salawat. Applause is fine. It's good to show applause. But the actual way that we show our appreciation first is Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That's the best way.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Because if you applaud, you're not really getting an award from Allah's blessing. But if you say
If you say salawat, then
you are getting an award of Allah's blessing.
So there's nothing wrong with applause though. So for example, if you have a non-Muslim coming here, right? Let's say that you do a food drive, and you give that food drive to... Have you done a food drive so far?
Yes.
Okay, let's say that you have a non-Muslim who comes and they give a talk about where their food pantry operates and how they do things, and when you want to thank them, if you say salawat, they're not going to understand it. They might even get scared. Right? So there's nothing wrong with showing applause, right? Giving a hand of applause to a Muslim or to a non-Muslim. But for a Muslim, it's much more meaningful, exactly because of the reasons that you said, to say salawat. So what is for the teachers? Right? I think the best inspiration for a teacher is to remember that anybody who teaches something related to Islam, Quran, the Arabic language, in order for people to learn Quran, fiqh, history, that was the pride and the job and the role of the Prophet and the Imams. So when a teacher teaches, you're not just helping your kids. It's not just about trying to get through 45 minutes of one class. You're actually sitting in the shoes of, fulfilling the role of the Prophet and trying to follow the Prophet. So there is no greater honor that Allah can give a person in that. And so for our teachers, don't think of it as a relationship between you and just a family or a student. It's an honor that you have been given, and you want to fulfill that honor and show gratitude to Allah.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Sometimes students are thankful. Sometimes the students are not that interested. Try to be the best teacher that you can. One thing that my experience tells me is that no matter how much the students might learn in a class, the teacher learns a whole lot. So there's nothing better than teaching for a person to also learn. So you get that benefit, and inshallah the students will also benefit. So, assalamu alaikum. I think then
What's the time?
it's time to do wudu, and we will come back for salat inshallah in just a few minutes.
Thank you.